Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. After 3 days in Uttar Pradesh police custody, Priyanka Gandhi is released, heads to meet farmers along with Rahul Gandhi and 2 Congress chief ministers. Much drama at the Lucknow airport as Rahul and 2 chief ministers arrive. Meanwhile, Amit Shah meets the minister whose son is named in the murder FIR. Government sources say there is no need for the minister to resign at the moment. The Minister of State for Home back to work as usual, despite his son being named for murder. And 3 days later, the minister's son hasn't been questioned yet. Cooking gas prices up by 15 rupees per cylinder. Gas cylinder prices now up by 51% in 1 year. Petrol and diesel prices were hiked again also today. A BJP politician and a private detective are part of Narcotics Control Bureau raids. A private detective took selfies with Aryan Khan while he was in NCB custody. This BJP politician on camera taking the accused to the NCB office. A Maharashtra Minister now says this shows that the raids on the cruise ship were fake raids set up by the BJP. The NCB's response is let them go to court. Anger and grief a day after terrorists kill a much-beloved Kashmiri Pandit pharmacist in Srinagar. The daughter says terrorists can't kill my father's soul. Srinagar today pays tribute to the much-loved pharmacist. 70-year-old Bindru had refused to leave the valley even during the worst conflict. On the road to 1 billion vaccinations, the NDTV special series on our vaccination superheroes. And India's festive season begins. Mahalaya marks the start of Durga Puja festivities. Our lead story tonight, well, latest pictures coming in this evening of a Congress delegation led by Rahul Gandhi and also including his sister and Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, Congress MP Dipinder Hooda, who've been in 3 days of police custody, walking towards Lakhimpur to meet families of those farmers who died 3 days ago. Priyanka Gandhi there in those visuals coming out of that guest house where she was in UP police custody for 3 days. 2 Congress chief ministers are also there, Bhupesh Singh Baghel of Chhattisgarh and the Punjab chief minister, as they're heading right now to meet the families of those killed farmers. This came amid a day of great political drama as Rahul Gandhi and 2 chief ministers, first their PNRs were cancelled in Delhi airport, then when they reached Lucknow airport, controversy about letting them out. But the Uttar Pradesh government today, in a dramatic U-turn, said it was all right for politicians to go and meet families of those killed as long as they were in delegations under 5. This after 3 days of resistance. But the bigger story today is that the Minister of State for Home, the controversial Ajay Mishra, whose son is named as an accused in a murder FIR of the farmers, was back at work as usual. In fact, today he met with Home Minister Amit Shah. However, government sources have told NDTV that they are backing the minister as of now and there's no need for him to resign.
A striking contrast. A union minister whose department, Home, oversees law and order and policing matters of India, where he met Amit Shah. Ajay Mishra's son is accused in an FIR over the killing of 4 farmers. However, 3 days after the horrific incident, Ashish Mishra has still not been arrested, a top demand of the protesting farmers. On the other hand, a top opposition leader, Rahul Gandhi, blocked for almost half an hour by the UP police at the Lucknow airport. His aim to go to Lakhimpur Kheri and meet the families of the victims.
भाई मुझे निकलने दीजिए प्लीज, निकलने दीजिए मुझे। ये देखिए, इधर जरा कैमरा लगाइए इनको यहाँ पे अच्छी तरह। ये देखिए मुझे अब एयरपोर्ट से बाहर नहीं जाने दे रहे।
लगता है कि कोई ट्रैप है,
जरूर 100% ये कुछ ना कुछ बदमाशी कर रहे हैं। Whether I am kept in makeshift jail, Priyanka is kept in makeshift jail, I don't care. The issue is that 6 people have been run over by a criminal. The people who are supposed to be putting the criminal in jail, right? They're not putting the criminal in jail, right? They are stopping people from going to see the family who's lost their members. हम अपनी गाड़ी में जाते हैं, सिक्योरिटी वाले से बातचीत हुई सर, अंदर से कानून के बेसिस पे, कौन से कानून के बेसिस पे प्रॉब्लम सर वीआईपी हैंडल से सारी गाड़ियां लगाई गई सर। मुझे नॉर्मल में जाना है, मुझे वीआईपी में जाना ही नहीं है सर। आपकी सिक्योरिटी को देखकर सर सर्विस किया गया सर। सर पूरा जाम है तिराहा सर। कुछ जाम नहीं है, हम वहां से जाना चाहते हैं।
Finally, the UP police appeared to have relented and let him travel in his own car, but with a police escort, to take him to Sitapur, where his sister and Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra had remained in police custody. Back in the capital, the ruling BJP has been largely silent and adamantly behind Ajay Mishra, even though he admitted his car was involved in Sunday's violence. Mishra was appointed minister just a couple of months ago, with analysts pointing out an eye on the UP elections.
Top government sources have indicated that there is no question of a resignation for the Minister of State for Home Affairs, because he has clarified not once but twice that he wasn't present at his site and neither was his son. Yes, his car was involved, but that's a matter of investigation.
Ironically, while his son stays out of jail, tomorrow Ajay Mishra will be attending a meeting of prison officials in his capacity as a top law official of the country. However, the media has been uninvited from the event. With Arvind in Sitapur and Sunil Prabhu in Delhi, Bureau Report, NDTV.
And Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal also today said that all those named in the FIR, including the minister's son, must be arrested for the killings of people.
आज हर देशवासी टीवी और सोशल मीडिया पे देख रहा है कि एक गाड़ी आई और किसानों को रौंद के चली गई। जिस तरह से पूरी सरकार हत्यारों को बचाने में लगी है, इस सब से क्या संदेश दिया जा रहा है कि अगर आप कोई नेता हो या अमीर हो तो आप अपनी गाड़ी से किसी को भी कुचल सकते हो। जब विपक्ष के नेता मृतक किसानों के परिवार वालों से मिलने जा रहे हैं तो उन्हें जेल में डाला जा रहा है। ये कौन सी आजादी का जश्न है? ऐसे तो अंग्रेज करते थे। क्या इसीलिए हमारे पूर्वजों ने आजादी के लिए संघर्ष किया था, कुर्बानियां दी थी? आखिर वहां ऐसा क्या है जो छुपाया जा रहा है? ऐसी क्या बात हो गई वहां ना किसी पत्रकार को पहुंचने दिया जा रहा, ना किसानों को पहुंचने दिया जा रहा, ना किसी विपक्ष के नेता को? आज पूरा भारत जानना चाहता है कि लखीमपुर में आखिर हुआ क्या था।
This after Sharad Pawar said this was worse than Jallianwala Bagh. The BJP has said this is all being politically concocted. Meanwhile, Alok Pandey is on the ground in Lakhimpur Kheri. He also spoke today to the families of BJP workers who were killed in the violence after the jeep rammed into farmers, and also to the family of a journalist who was also killed.
हम नहीं मना कर पाए, हमसे कहा कि पापा चले जाएं, कल तक आ जाएंगे। क्या ठीक है बेटा, चले जाओ।
उसके बाद सर सॉरी आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ मैं, लेकिन किन परिस्थितियों में डेथ हुई? क्या वो थार गाड़ी में बैठे थे, आप कह रहे थे वीडियो भी था, कैसे हुआ?
थार गाड़ी वहीं पे छोड़ दी गई, सब भाग गए। जब आगे सीट से ड्राइवर वो भाग गया तो उनको वो बर्बरदा से उनकी पिटाई की है कि हमने डेड बॉडी को खोला नहीं है, सीधी रखा, सीधी उसका दाह संस्कार किया है।
आगे अब आप प्रशासन से और अपनी पार्टी से क्या चाहते हैं?
प्रशासन से यही कि मतलब उचित कार्रवाई की जाए, जो उनको मार है उनके साथ में कठोर से कठोर कार्रवाई की जाए। और उनके एक लड़की है, हम दोनों लोग बूढ़े माँ बाप हैं, हमारे लिए क्या कर सकती है? वो शहीद हुआ है पार्टी के लिए, तो उसको पार्टी तो कम से कम शहादत का दर्जा दे।
मुझे पोस्टमार्टम की कॉपी भी नहीं मिली, FIR की कॉपी, जबकि मैं उनके पास कई मतलब जो है फ़ोन भी किए हैं, बराबर गया भी उनके पास, काफ़ी वेट भी कराया उन्होंने
पुलिस के पास।
जी, जो घटना स्थल वाली कोतवाली है, तिगुनिया कोतवाली, हाथ में सुराग तो ज़रूर है, लेकिन वो गोली का है ये करेक्ट तो उसमें PM रिपोर्ट में पता चलेगा। बाकी मेरे भैया की जो है गाड़ी से रगड़ के उनकी डेथ हुई है, और वो गाड़ी से रगड़ने के बाद में काफ़ी देर तक पड़े भी रहे हैं, शायद उनको फर्स्ट एड ना मिलने की वजह से उनकी डेथ हो गई है। गाड़ी से जो रगड़े हैं उनके सब निशान चेहरे पर हैं और शरीर हाथ पे हैं।
The grief there of 8 families who've lost their lives in what happened in Lakhimpur Kheri. It's not about politics, but about giving them justice. 3 days later, no one's been questioned yet in this tragic case. Meanwhile, the other big headline, well, cooking gas prices were up today by 15 rupees a cylinder. Prices have now gone up of cooking gas by 51% in the last 1 year. In fact, last October, it was 594 rupees per cylinder. Today, it's at nearly 900 rupees per cylinder.
The hike in cooking gas has hit Sudha and her family of 4 very hard. She says her son, who has a master's degree, now works at a kirana shop as there are very few jobs for him. 40-year-old Sudha says all she can do is hope that the government pays heed to the hardship the poor are facing.
था पहले समय वैसे करो, जो गरीब जी सकते हैं वही बोलेंगे ना। हम लोग तो 1.5 साल से मर रहे हैं, इधर से गैस के हो रहे हैं, कभी नीचे कभी ऊपर, कभी 15 बढ़ गया, कभी 20 बढ़ गया, कभी 30 बढ़ गया, ऐसे तो होता ही रहता है।
For Gopal Mandal, a popular momo maker at Kolkata's Triangular Park, today's gas price hike is a double whammy. Not only is his home budget hit, even his LPG intensive momo business is. He has had to hike the price of a plate of chicken momos from rupees 35 to 40. Among the 4 metros, cooking gas is the costliest here at rupees 926 per cylinder.
कमर्शियल गैस का दाम बढ़ा हुए हैं, क्योंकि हमको भी बढ़ाना होगा। हम 35 लेते हैं, अभी 40 कर दिया 3 तारीख से, हम भी का दाम बढ़ा दिया।
For 20-year-old Mohit, a resident of Faridabad, the only earning member of his family, costs of running his stall has become double, an addition of at least 2,500 rupees, he says, but he has still not raised his prices. It is still rupees 10 for a cup of tea.
फरीदाबाद से आता हूँ यहाँ चाय बेचने, सब चीज़ महंगी कर दी है, अब पूरा घर चलाना पड़ता है। 5 जने घर में, मैं कमाने वाला अकेला हूँ। सरकार ने हर चीज़ तो महंगी कर दी, आज सिलेंडर भी महंगा कर दिया, दूध भी महंगा है, गैस पेट्रोल सब चीज़ महंगा हो गया। अब गरीब इंसान के बारे में सोच नहीं रही सरकार।
The poor is already under stress and reeling from the impacts of the COVID-induced pandemic. But now with the rise in price in fuel and cooking gas, they ask, is the government truly looking after them? With Monideepa Banerjee in Kolkata and Sushil Rathi in Delhi, Shanakshi Chakravarti, NDTV.
Well, prices going up every day for the average person, but good news for stock market investors. The Sensex and Nifty have broken a 2-day, well actually it's bad news because they've been a winning streak has been broken on weak global cues. All the 15 sector gauges combined with the National Stock Exchange ended lower today by the Nifty metal indexes, nearly 3% fall. The Sensex ending 555 points lower, the Nifty down by 176 points. Well, in tragic news, yesterday 3 people were killed in Srinagar by terrorists, and today Srinagar came out to mourn the death of a much-loved 70-year-old pharmacist, Mr. Bindru, a Kashmiri Pandit who was killed by terrorists yesterday. His strong family spoke out today against his killing, but said they won't cry because they won't let the terrorist guns win.
Right now, today, my father is no more, right? But still, I have a smiling face because I know my father was a warrior. He was a winner. If I shed tears, that would be like a tribute to those gunmen.
A brave daughter's tribute to her father, Makhanlal Bindru, who was killed by terrorists at his pharmacy shop in Srinagar. But Bindru meant so much more, an embodiment of Kashmir's syncretic ethos. He never left Kashmir, even at the peak of militancy in the 90s. He kept the Bindru pharmacy open when everything else was shut, even in the most difficult times. Today, the pharmacy was closed. For locals, this came as a shock and a sense of disbelief. Dr. Smriti says she will not be cowed down by terrorists and has challenged the killers who want to strike fear.
I, being a Hindu, I have read Quran, and Quran says कि ये जो चोला है, ये शरीर का जो चोला है, ये तो बदल जाएगा. लेकिन जो इंसान का स्पिरिट है, उसका जज्बा है, वो कहीं नहीं जाएगा. And Mr. who shot my father dead while he was working, if you have the guts and courage, come in front and have a debate. Have a face-to-face debate with us.
70-year-old Bindru's killing was one of 3 on Tuesday evening. Police said 2 terrorists with pistols barged into his shop and shot him point blank. Within an hour, a non-local Virendra Paswan, a Golgappa vendor, was killed in downtown Srinagar, and in Mandipur, a cab driver, Mohammad Shafi, was killed as well. Parties across the political divide condemn the killings, and there are questions over the worsening security situation in Kashmir.
आज इस दुनिया को छोड़ गया है, उसको हमारे शैतानों ने उसे मार डाला है. उस बेचारे ने हर एक की खिदमत की, उसने लोगों के लिए सब कुछ दिया.
In the last 4 days, 5 civilians have been killed in targeted attacks. On Saturday, 2 people, Majid Ahmed and Mohammad Shafi, were killed in Srinagar. A terrorist group, the Resistance Front, has claimed responsibility.
Kashmir has lost a reputed and well-respected chemist. The targeted killing of Makhanlal Bindru and 2 other civilians is part of a series of attacks reflecting grim security situation when government is claiming that all is well in the valley. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
A senseless, cowardly killing by terrorists there. Meanwhile, moving to the other big revelation that's coming out, and this is about the arrest of Aryan Khan and the other accused by the Narcotics Control Bureau. Look at these pictures. Now, this man on the left is a private detective. How was he with the NCB taking selfies, Aryan Khan? The man on the right is a BJP worker. A BJP worker, Mr. Bhanushali, there with Arbaz Merchant, another accused. You can see him holding his hand there, taking the accused into the Narcotics Control Bureau headquarters. How can private individuals be involved in an NCB raid? Those are the big questions that the state minister asked today, saying that the entire raids was set up and this is a conspiracy by the BJP and the NCB.
These pictures exposing absolutely bizarre happenings during the arrest of Aryan Khan and his friend Arbaz Merchant by the Narcotics Control Bureau. First, a private detective also there during raids, KP Gosavi, and he is seen taking selfies with Aryan Khan at a time he was alone with no legal counsel. And then a BJP leader, Manish Bhanushali, seen here with former Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, holding on to the other accused Arbaz Merchant during the NCB raids. Manish Bhanushali, who visited Gujarat and Delhi recently, has photos with various senior BJP leaders. Today, NCP's Nawab Malik alleged these raids were fake and a setup between the anti-drugs agency and the BJP.
पिछले 1 साल से भारतीय जनता पार्टी महाराष्ट्र की सरकार को, मुंबई की फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को, बॉलीवुड को बदनाम करने के लिए फर्जीवाड़ा रच रही है। मनीष भानुशाली दिल्ली में किससे मिल रहा था? मनीष भानुशाली गुजरात में किन मंत्रियों के साथ बैठा था और 3 तारीख को छापेमारी में लोगों को गिरफ्तार करता है? ये सारे सवाल के जवाब हमें लगता है कि एनसीबी को देना पड़ेगा।
As per arguments in court, no drugs were found in the possession of Aryan Khan. 6 grams of hashish was found with Arbaz Merchant. The total seizure included 10 grams of cocaine, mephedrone, charas, hydroponic weed, and MDMA tablets and cash amounting to 1,33,000, which was found on the other accused. The NCB says the accused were arrested because of WhatsApp chats on their phone that show financial transactions with peddlers. So why exactly is Aryan Khan in custody with no evidence of him having possession of drugs? And how were outsiders and BJP workers playing an active role and handling the accused? Sameer Wankhede, the zonal director of the agency, is also seen giving instructions to them. The Narcotics Control Bureau responded to the allegations, saying they had followed all procedures.
Individuals or politicians allowed to hold an reservation, they are free to go to court, seek justice. We will reply to the court. No issues. We have done everything as per procedure.
Caught unawares, the BJP evaded answers on Bhanushali's controversial involvement and accused the Maharashtra government of politics in an attempt to deflect the issue.
राजनीति करने के लिए कई विषय मिलेंगे, पर कम से कम ड्रग्स का विषय जो हमारे देश के नौजवानों के जीवन के साथ जुड़ा है, कम से कम इस विषय को तो वे राजनीति से दूर रखते।
But legal experts say that the NCB's explanation that they were witnesses and processes were followed is unlikely to withstand legal scrutiny. In Mumbai with camera person Rajendra Dayalkar, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And BJP worker Manish Bhanushali has responded, saying that he was an informer with the Narcotics Control Bureau and that's why he was there with the accused, because he was a key witness.
नवाब मलिक साहब ने एकदम गंभीर और गलत आरोप मेरे पे लगाया है। इसमें कोई हमारे बीजेपी पार्टी का लेना देना नहीं है, किसी नेता का लेना देना नहीं है। 1 तारीख को जानकारी मिलने के बाद 2 तारीख को ये कार्रवाई की गई। 2 तारीख को कार्रवाई के टाइम पे मेरे पास कुछ नई इन्फॉर्मेशन आ रही थी, इसके लिए मैं एनसीबी के अधिकारियों के साथ था। जैसे कार्रवाई पूरी होने के बाद मुझे स्टेटमेंट देने का था विटनेस के हिसाब से, और वहाँ जाने के बाद मेरा विटनेस के ऊपर साइन लेके मुझे छोड़ा गया।
So major controversy emerging from those visuals being released, and Saurabh, this of course happening when there was no legal counsel present with Aryan Khan. You can see that selfie being taken there. But also, now the details are emerging of the seizure report. Now this is given by the Narcotics Control Bureau to court. The fact remaining that no drugs actually found with Aryan Khan at all. Can you just give us a breakup of that seizure report?
Absolutely, there were various drugs found, including cocaine, many of that in intermediate quantity, and in later raids, some in commercial quantity. But the fact is, and as it was mentioned in court and as reiterated by Aryan Khan's lawyer, that there was no possession of these drugs on him. Now, we heard the BJP leader, worker, whatever his position in the party is, say that he was a witness and he came to record a statement. But who allows a witness to hold an accused in a case and take him into the custody or the office?
Right.
That is unheard of. And in repeated questions to the NCB, we asked them to give us an explanation, but there was an evasive answer to that. But yes, there is, of course, no evidence to suggest, and it hasn't been mentioned in court as well, that Aryan Khan, on his person, there were drugs found. What they said was they found WhatsApp chats that perhaps pointed them to people who could have been peddling drugs, and Aryan Khan could have been purchasing them. That was the limited allegation they made, and they said, of course, it could be international drug sellers as well. Here at the NCB office, senior officials are still there, but still no explanation from the labs, and legal experts say that their explanation that these were witnesses who were apparently seen in pictures handling the accused is unlikely to stand legal scrutiny.
Let's just go through that seizure report, as you pointed out, given by the NCB itself. So if we can just have that graphic up, so we can just run through that. So the people who have actually been sent to custody till for 4 days don't actually have any cocaine or hard drugs on them. And Aryan Khan, as you said, with no drugs on them, he's being held for WhatsApp chats. Arbaz Khan with 6 grams on, and the Munmun also with, I think, between 3 to 6 grams of charas on them. And the cocaine and MDMA and the other drugs all found with other people.
Yes, absolutely. There was a set of accused. The first 3 were, of course, Aryan Khan, Arbaz Merchant and Munmun Dhamecha, which was, of course, incidentally argued by the Additional Solicitor General at this stage of the, of the case, which is also rare. But the other accused, whose case was argued later and who was also being sent to NCB custody till tomorrow, from them there were certain quantities found. The breakup has been given. For example, there was 10 tablets of MDMA that was found by one of the accused, 10 grams of cocaine found on one of the accused. But these were a separate set for whom the counsel for the NCB argued in court, whereas the ASG, who's one of the top officials, legal officials in the state for the centre, turned up to argue for Aryan Khan's case, which is also very rare.
So that's really, I think, the question that many are asking, that why is a person being held who had no drugs on him? Is it not a bailable offence? What about the people who are really behind this and this whole case? Many unanswered questions, and now private detectives and BJP politicians involved, so many questions being raised there. But let's go across now to other news. Well, what's happening on COVID? There's good news there. The festival season begins. It's the lowest in 203 days with 833 cases in the last 24 hours. Deaths are down, 278. The weekly positivity rate is also less than 2%. The recovery rate is currently at 97.94%. And on vaccinations, well, we're soon going to be hitting a target of 1 billion doses. This as though we had a record high just a few weeks ago. Vaccination rates dipping again slightly, but the government saying the target is well in sight, that we should be hitting 1 billion doses in the next week to 10 days. What's that road been like? We profile in a series of special reports India's vaccination superheroes.
A 20-kilometer hill drive on a battered Ghat road. After that, it's a 1-hour trek for Dr. Sandhya and her team as they carry vaccines across a difficult forest terrain to arrive at Sembakoli, a tribal settlement. They are here to administer the second dose to 80-year-old Bommi, a Kurumbar tribal woman, who's among the last of the 18,000 eligible tribals to be fully vaccinated.
Even if one of them got infected with the corona, around 500 people are here living. So everyone will get infected.
Over the last few months, doctors, nurses and health workers have been trekking through difficult terrains and forest areas like this, reaching out to around 1,300 tribal settlements to make sure everyone here would be fully inoculated. Vaccine hesitancy among tribals was a major challenge. The district administration managed to first persuade a few tribals like Srinagar to get the shot. They became vaccine ambassadors and worked magic in convincing the rest.
The ST council members were first inoculated, and then the youth members from the society, they were inoculated, and then they formed the campaign group for us. And of course we had to make multiple visits even to a single village, but then it didn't deter us. We ensured that the entire 18 plus population was inoculated.
Not just the terrain and distance, there are other challenges. Malarkudi, a nurse, suffers a leech bite. Some 10 kilometers away, a hunt is on for a killer tiger. But that did not stop Kali, an Asha worker, from visiting every household one day in advance to inform about the vaccine drive. Stories of hard work and grit to reach the remotest areas as India inches towards 1 billion doses to try and make the country COVID-free. With Suresh at Gudalur in Nilgiris district, Sam Daniel, NDTV.
Well, the good news also on COVID cases down, vaccinations up as we enter festive season. And today it began in Bengal with Mahalaya.
Bengalis woke up at the crack of dawn on Mahalaya today to tune into Mahishasur Mordini, a confection of songs and shlokas that invokes goddess Durga and tells the tale of her battle against the demon, the eventual victory of good over evil. For the idol makers, the demons this season were COVID and the rain.
বাঙালির একটা এত বড় উৎসব আমাদের বাঙালিতে এটা নিয়েই বেঁচে আছে আজকে আমাদের আনন্দ ফুর্তি উনার জন্যই তো আমরা আজকে বেঁচে আছি উনার আশীর্বাদে আমরা বেঁচে আছি মায়ের অশেষ করুণা মায়ের জন্যই আমরা বেঁচে আছি
This is the second Durga Puja in the pandemic, so revelers can't enter pandals and can see the goddess only from afar. But they can go pandal hopping all night as the 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. COVID curfew is lifted for the pujas from Sunday. Mamata Banerjee, who urged caution, got into the spirit of things, singing an invocation to the goddess herself. The weather forecast is not the happiest. But what's a little rain when the goddess is among us? She will be here on Monday. With G.D. Shankar, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.